Hey guys, how you all doing? I'm Paul the Tech Giant and welcome to the channel where today I'm going to be telling you the worst things about my 65-inch Samsung Q90R. Now before we get started, I've just got to quickly say a massive thanks to the guys at box.co.uk for hooking me up with this absolutely stunning TV. And if you guys want to pick one up for yourselves, then I will put a link in the description where you can go and grab one of these or one of the other Samsung TVs in the range. Now, when I've done a previous video like this in the past, I got a lot of negativity from people saying that I was just bashing the TV that I was reviewing at the time. But the simple fact is, what people didn't take into account is, alongside the worst things about it video that I do, I also do a best things about it video. So I will put a link in the description also for the best things about the 65-inch Samsung Q90R. And the way you need to look at it is that these videos are basically a pros and cons video, but just split up into two separate videos to make it easier for you guys at home. So please just bear that in mind when you are leaving a comment, and please be respectful, because again, you know, I got some really nasty comments last time, and these videos are just made to help you guys in decision making on potentially buying a new TV. And the fact is, at the end of the day, everything has a positive and a negative, and I'm just giving what is my personal opinion on what are the pros and the cons of this TV. And I'll leave it to you guys to make your own mind up if you think it's worth going for the TV or not. Right, I think it's time we crack on with the video. Now, the first worst thing about this 65-inch Samsung Q90R, and this is in no particular order by the way, is a strange purple line that seems to go around the outside of the TV. Now, this isn't noticeable on every single scene, but if I just show you guys here, if you can notice, not that purple there, but this sort of like little hazy purple line going all along the bottom there. Can you guys see that? Now, this can sometimes, depending on the scene, stretch around the whole perimeter of the screen, which isn't the best, especially say when it's a nice bright white screen, and then you can just, sort of make out this purple tinge going around, all four sides of the screen. It is, very, very strange indeed. And I have looked online about this, and it just seems to be like one of those things that you get with these TVs. It doesn't seem to be like an issue as such. It's just, what you get with the technology, I suppose, if that's the way you want to look at it. It's not the worst problem in the world, but now and again it can be a little distracting, like I say, especially when it's sort of full screen. And, generally you sort of concentrate more on the middle of an image, but still it is there. And I believe, it is something that I should just point out to you guys. So that is the first worst thing about this TV. Now, the next worst thing about this TV is to do with the network connection. Now, I have got this actually hardwired. If I show you guys now, I've actually got it plugged in at the back there with a LAN cable. And for some random reason, and again, this is documented online, it will come up in the corner there saying that it's basically been disconnected. I'll just sort of pull this out and show you guys what you get. There you go. You'll get that signal, but you wouldn't have pulled the cable out the back. You'll just be sitting there and it will randomly come up saying it's been disconnected for no reason whatsoever. And then sort of 10 seconds later, it will say it's reconnected again. Now, sometimes it won't do it for ages. Other times, it will just do it, a few times in an hour. I've got no reason why it should do this. All my internet's perfect. It doesn't do it with any of my other TVs or any of my other devices. Got really fast internet here. So, it's nothing to do with sort of my end of it as such. It's like a bit of a glitch with the TV. And like I said, loads of people have complained about this before and even messaged me saying that, they have had this issue. Just ignore that. Obviously, that's because I've pulled the cable out. So that is the next worst thing about this TV. Now, the next worst thing to do with this Samsung Q90R is to do with the sound. And it's really annoying, and that's the fact of the volume doesn't seem to increase like it would on any other device. Now, I also have another TV here, which is an LG, and when you move the volume up in the increments of 1, you can progressively hear it getting louder and louder over time. But with this one, it seems to almost like max out, and each increment hardly changes the volume at all. And where we can have the LG, say, on half its volume, the Samsung is basically maxed right out. So it's not the sort of loudest one going. I'll give you a bit of a demo now. It'll probably sound quite loud on camera, but trust me, in person compared to other TVs, it's not. So we're up at halfway now, and it's obviously got a bit of volume there, but nothing spectacular. But if I increase it, it doesn't seem to go up, sort of in relative to this sort of number it's displaying. If I put that to 100 now, like that to me hasn't doubled in volume from 50. Now I know that isn't also necessarily a proper indication of 50 to 100 is double, but it's not a significant jump, I don't feel. Like, I'll take it down to 50, it's not much of a difference there, as you can see. It hardly changes at all, and that I find really, really annoying. You've really sort of got to go up a lot through the volume to sort of just get a fraction increase in the sound. So that is my next worst thing about this TV. Now, my next gripe about this TV is a relatively small one, but still I feel it's something worth pointing out to any potential buyers, and that is that it is a really heavy TV. Now, I've got some figures for you here, and this 65-inch is 28 kilos, just the TV on its own, and 35 kilos with the stand. Now, you might say, well, that's not, particularly heavy, but, again, we've got an OLED down here, and, that is far, far lighter. But comparing it to other LCD screens, it is still quite heavy. But what you've also got to take into account of is the fact that you have got this one Connect box, and that itself weighs a fair amount. So you've got to remember, they're putting a lot of the weight from the TV into that box. So when you consider, that weight has been taken away, it is still a really heavy TV. So if you are potentially, living on your own, it might be a bit of a problem when it comes to, say, wall mounting this, or even just getting it out the box. So that is my next grumble about this TV, that it is not the lightest TV on the market. So the next worst thing about this TV, and the thing that I probably find the most annoying about this TV, is to do with the black levels and brightness. Now, I'm going to just give you guys a bit of a demonstration here. So what I've done, I've got not only my Samsung hooked up to my Skybox, but my rival TV, and I've got it paused on a bit of text there. And if I just show you guys on the rival TV at the bottom, as you can see from top to bottom, left to right, that is nice, bright and crisp white all over. But as we move up to the Samsung, as you can see, at the top, at the bottom, and on the edges, it dims down. It is really, really annoying. If I just sort of adjust this exposure a bit, I don't know if you guys can see there. Look how bright that is in the middle, but then look how dark it is down here at the edge. It's really, really odd. And it's the same up the top. It almost looks creamy, but then it's bright. You can see it's sort of really, it's almost like bordering on blowing out now because I've had to adjust the exposure. But yeah, dark up there, bright in the middle. So what you get is this effect of when you've got credits going up, they go dark at the bottom, get brighter, and then go dimmer. Where on the rival at the bottom, they just go from top to bottom, left to right. It's just perfectly white. And this doesn't just affect, credits. It's anything that's, sort of bright white on a dark background. So you get at the edges, it can be duller than what it is in the middle. And it can be really distracting. And yeah, it bugs the hell out of me. I mean, I've got another Samsung TV that doesn't claim to be sort of the best at being dark. And yes, the black levels aren't as good, but at least it's then uniformed all over the screen when it comes to displaying something like this. So, your credits go up, they look normal. But on this, they don't, and nor do other things. And it can be really distracting. And, it could pop up, say, something bright on the screen, dark on the edges, and what you'll find is there's a delay, and you'll see it literally dim down from being bright white, doom, and it's sort of like step down to being duller. And, it's quite frustrating. Again, another scenario will be like when there's a scene, say, example with stars. On the rival TV, they will be nice and bright. But on the Samsung, it has to aggressively sort of dim down the backlight. So you lose all the brightness on those stars and it doesn't look as good. So that is the next worst thing about this TV. On to the next worst thing about this TV, and that is the fact that this TV does not support Dolby Vision. Yes, for some reason, Samsung are hell-bent on sticking with their HDR10 Plus and will not implement Dolby Vision, which is a shame because Dolby Vision, from what I have tested out on other TVs, looks absolutely gorgeous. I've tried out HDR10 Plus, and for me personally, I don't think it looks quite as good. And it's more for the fact of that more sort of streaming services and that seem to support Dolby Vision than HDR10 Plus, such as the Disney app here that I've got. And when you go to sort of play that on another TV that supports Dolby Vision, it will say Dolby Vision. But unfortunately on here, it will only play it in HDR10. So yeah, you get just your normal version of HDR, which isn't as pleasing on the eye. And that is a real shame. I wish Samsung, would have sort of just gone with the sort of masses really and gone down the Dolby Vision route, but they haven't. So that's the way it is. So that is the next worst thing about this TV. Right, the next worst thing about this TV is the remote controls. But actually, just before I come to that, going back to what I was saying about the purple around the edges, just on this screen here at the moment, can you just see that again there? It seems to be quite prominent on this one. If you look closely enough, that purpleness goes around all four edges there. But anyway, moving on. So yeah, the complaint about the remote controls. Now, the silver remote control there looks absolutely stunning. And, it is really nice. Better than most other remote controls I come across. But my main gripe with it is, or should I say with them, is the fact that neither of the remote controls does everything. So whilst you've got two, you have to have almost both with you all the time to control the TV, which isn't ideal. I mean, I don't see the point in having two remote controls if neither can do all the functions themselves. So, I mean, like, for instance, on the silver one, you've got a button there for the voice commands and all that. So you press that and it's got a microphone on it. But not on the black one. And the black one has got things on it that the silver one doesn't. So it's just a bit of an odd thing why they've done that. I mean, if they're going to do that, then give us two silver ones, not like a cheap one and a decent one. I mean, I find it handy because you can have the sort of cheap one when the kids are sort of messing around with the TV and all that. I mean, don't get me wrong, for your basic functions, channel up, down, volume and all that, it's okay. But, like I say, it's just a bit frustrating that, you seem to have to rely on both remote controls to, use all of the functions on the TV. It just seems a very odd thing that they've done. So that is the next worst thing about this TV. Now, whilst we're on the subject of remote controls, that brings me on to my next, just again, a little gripe. It's not the be all and end all, but still it's annoying nonetheless. Now, I'm on the YouTube app here, and you can see that we've got like a little mic search sort of button there. Now, on other TVs, if you click on that and the remote has got a microphone in it, as soon as you click on that, you speak into it. So I'm just going to do that with the Samsung now. I'll press on that. And as soon as you go to sort of say anything, it comes up a message on the screen. Let me just do that again, where it says you've got to hold down the microphone button. So in order to voice search for something, you have to press on that and then get the remote and find the voice button and then hold that down to say your bit, as it's now doing. Which, to me, again, seems a long-winded way around of doing it. Why not just when you press enter, that activates the microphone on the remote control so you speak and that's it, not sort of like a long-winded process of doing it. You know, you click on it, then holding down a second button just to say your voice command. A bit strange, but there you go. Like I say, only a small niggle, but again, worth pointing out. There you go then, guys. Now, like I said at the start of the video, don't forget I have also done a best things about it. And trust me, there are a lot of really, really good things about this TV. And don't forget, this is my own TV. I own this TV. If I thought it was bad, I wouldn't own it. I would have sold it on and got something else. But for the technology that it is, I think it is a cracking TV and probably is fair to say one of the best TVs out there. So please, like I said, watch the positives and the negatives videos before you go making up your mind. So there you go then, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that video today, and if you did, I would really appreciate a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, then make sure you hit that subscribe button for more of the same in the future. And don't forget to hit that bell icon, because otherwise you will not be notified of my latest uploads. So thanks very much for joining me today, and hopefully I'll catch you guys on next one. Bye for now.